What's up, everybody? It's Joel with the one and only Real Broker coming at you with another video. And today we're going to be talking about, should I hire an ISA? Should I hire a cold caller, an inside sales agent? So if you guys are ready, let's get to it. Now, before I share with you guys whether you should hire an ISA, there are a couple of things for you guys to consider. And before we go over those, I personally do have a couple of inside sales agents making cold calls. And I do have a little bit of experience with this, whether they're in the States or whether they're outside of the country. And currently, all of my callers are non-US based. They're actually out in Mexico. And I've had US based cold callers before, and fortunately now they've gotten their license and they're out there making their own calls and they're out there hustling, making their own money rather than making it for me. So I do have a little bit of experience, not as much as some other people, but I do know what it's like to have somebody working for you. Now, really, there are a couple of things that we really need to consider. Number one is, how much money am I making, aka how good are my personal sales skills? And the next thing we need to consider is, what does my support staff look like? What do my back-end system and processes look like? So let's go ahead and start off with that. Now, most people right off the bat, they want to go out and they want to hire another salesperson, when in reality, really, they should be looking at their infrastructure, right? Do you have an assistant helping you out with listing inputs? Do you have an assistant helping you out with the back-end follow-up, the automation? Do you have an assistant helping you with lock boxes and all these other things that really don't matter? Because at the end of the day, the more time you have to generate business, the more time you have to go out on appointments, the more money you can make. So before you start to even consider hiring another salesperson, is your business grown enough to the point where you need more administrative staff and you need more support for your own personal production, for your own personal outcome of your calls? And the idea is to maximize yourself and maximize how much you can do with your time before you start to go out and you leverage this to somebody else who might not be as skilled as you are. So the first thing is, make sure you have back-end support, make sure you have a good staff, make sure you have a solid assistant. And then at that point, you could consider starting to hire ISAs or cold callers, but make sure you have those systems in place first. Now, the next thing you want to really consider when should I hire a cold caller is, how much money are you making? Not because you should be making a lot of money before you hire somebody else, but because your skill should be high enough to where you're already generating enough money, or even just, some money on your own. Because the very first step to wealth is make money, right? You have to have income because you need to pay your support staff and you need to pay these cold callers as well if that's the route that you go to. So make money, then you got to learn how to manage people, and then you multiply. So how much money are you making? How good are your skills over the telephone? Now, for most people, when it comes to the question of, should I hire a cold caller, should I hire an ISA, an inside sales agent, the answer is just flat out no. And the reason being is because most people want to hire a cold caller so that way they don't have to make calls themselves. And unfortunately, that's just not the way that it works. Even if you do have a cold caller, you should still be making calls yourself. You have to lead by example. And when it comes to lead generation, it's the most important thing in our business. So why would you leverage that off to somebody else when you could take care of the most important thing yourself and then leverage other things such as the paperwork to somebody else before you even start to consider hiring somebody? So most people want to hire a cold caller because they don't like making calls themselves, or because they're not very good at it. And the truth is, you can't just expect someone to come in and do the hard work for you, because even if they do an amazing job of going out and generating these leads, then you're going to have to still be proficient in communicating with the client and going on presentations, handling objections. So even if an ISA hands you a hot lead on a silver platter, you still got to be able to have that conversation. So if you're thinking of hiring an ISA because you suck at cold calls or because you don't like making cold calls, you're going to waste your money, you're going to waste your time, and ultimately at the end of the day, it's going to fail. Now, if you're somebody who's already has decent skill and you have somebody who already has your support staff on the back end, then by all means, maybe it's time for you to start considering hiring another salesperson. And if you guys stay tuned to the channel, we'll be talking about specific things to consider when actually going through the interviewing and hiring process. So if you guys found value in that video, click the thumbs up, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you're curious about working with myself, please feel free to reach out. We have a prospecting link down below if you want to go on Zoom or Google Meets and make calls with me and hang out with me and my friends. Then you guys are more than welcome to come in at any time. Just click the Google Meets link down below. And I hope to catch you guys on the next video.